Welcome to the Pastoral Perspectives Podcast. Our aim is to help Christians grow spiritually by bringing pastoral wisdom and biblical clarity to important issues of Christian faith and practice. Each episode offers a thoughtful, biblical, and pastoral take on a matter of Christian theology, church life, spiritual growth, or cultural relevance that is shaped by years of local church ministry. Pastoral Perspectives is a ministry of the pastors of Vista Bible Church in Lafayette, Colorado.
Well, hey, what's up, everyone? Here we are again for another podcast episode. I'm Zach. This is Kyle. We're your happy hosts. You not happy? I'm happy. I'm happy today.
I guess I am now. That made
We're
me
happy
laugh.
to be your host here for the Pastoral Perspectives podcast. Today, Kyle, I wanted to make some song requests for Sunday mornings. Would that be okay? I just
That's
thought
not what we
could do
agreed.
a whole episode. I have a list of songs from the 1980s, a lot of really upbeat praise and worship songs that I was hoping we could talk about here in front of everyone and get you to incorporate them into our Sunday morning music repertoire. How's that? No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But we are going to talk about today the criteria that we use when evaluating songs for congregational singing.
That was what we agreed to talk about.
Do you get a lot of requests, song requests, as the song leader at our church?
There was a time when I would have said, yeah, I get a lot. I get less now, which...
There was a time when you would get some demands, not requests, right? But we're not going there.
This is accurate.
This is years and years ago, and it's in the past, and we're not going to drum that up today. All right, so if you're a person who listens to and enjoys Christian music, hopefully that's most of our members.
Yeah.
Not that you can only listen to Christian music. You can listen to Van Halen and, Eminem if you want to, whatever. Yeah. If you listen to and enjoy Christian music, you might find yourself listening to a song that you enjoy. I suspect that's the case. And you wonder, why doesn't Kyle play that at church? Why don't we do that at church? Or we really should sing that at church. Or I want us to sing that at church, and you enjoy it and you want to sing it at church.
Yeah.
How do we handle that, Kyle? Like, you are the primary filter for the songs that we sing at our church. Seems reasonable to maybe pepper you with some questions here this morning.
Yeah.
See how you think about this. What would you say, to just the attitude in general? We should sing this at church. Should we or shouldn't we?
Well, that's sort of a loaded question. I mean, there's lots of songs that I really enjoy and I listen to and I love them. That I'll never introduce to be a part of our church worship services.
K-pop worship songs. You really like K-pop.
Oh, man. I don't even know what K-pop is.
Let's
just be honest here.
Okay.
But there's all sorts of reasons why I wouldn't introduce a particular song that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And so, kind of what I want to do here as you were asking me questions and we're talking about this is sort of lay out what are the primary factors that I'm using or that we use even, it's not just me, but
right.
Usually like the first one that we'll do something like that. So what are those factors that help me decide whether something will be introduced here in our church as part of like the regular diet of singing or not? But before we do that, I feel like I have to make some general statements first.
Sure.
That kind of qualify everything that I'm going to say after. So these are all things that they just need to apply before we go through the criteria. So the first one is
that'd be good.
I want to make it clear we're only talking about congregational singing here. We're not talking about worship music in general and evaluating every single song with these sorts of criteria.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Just when it comes to the gathered church.
Sunday morning worship playlists. Sunday morning worship singing.
Not even talking about special music on a Sunday. Congregational singing. So that's the first thing we need to. We're limiting that to that issue. Second thing, like there are tons of good songs out there, tons of them, and that fact alone means we're not going to sing every great or excellent worship song available to us.
How many songs do we sing on a Sunday morning?
5.
5 songs.
Yeah.
Out of bazillion songs.
Yes, bazillions. Right. So like you can't get away from that. That's just the sheer volume. So omitting a song and not doing a song is not by itself any sort of commentary on the quality of the song. I can't even listen to all the songs that are out there, you know.
And that's just songs that are being produced now. Like there's also a long history of the church. There have been some really good songs written.
Yep. So that's all in there. That's all in that big pile of songs that we have to choose from.
Yep.
So that's the second thing. Third thing, even with criteria that I use and that we use and a grid to sort of help evaluate songs, for that purpose, there's still a measure of subjectivity to selecting songs. You can't get away from that. And so by us coming on here and saying, here's the criteria we use.
It's all objective.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying this is now objective.
It's just
there's no subjectivity here. Yeah. There's no preference. That you can't get away from that fact. And so we're not going to pretend that you can, but we're also not going to talk about it a ton.
Yeah, which means that a song you might like may not, be liked by a lot of other people, or we may not like it, or, just because I like a song doesn't mean you're going to like a song and vice versa. So
sure.
There is some subjectivity.
So I think the important thing on top of that is just to say we do try to minimize subjectivity with
as
these
much
criteria.
As possible.
Yeah. So that's the third one. The fourth thing I want to say is that this is more of a discussion about new songs that we would introduce to our church, not necessarily a commentary on every song that we sing here currently or have sung in the past. There's some we've sung for decades and they've just remained part of the rotation. There's some that have been replaced by new songs, but not all of them. Praise the Lord. And so again, there's subjectivity here, but just want to, when we're evaluating something new to introduce to our church, that's really what we want to talk about, not so much evaluating every song that we do.
Right.
Or have done for decades.
Right.
Okay. And then one more thing that I think we should say before we get into the criteria, and it's a factor that I think is worth its own episode that we'll probably do here at some point. And that's the whole idea of considering the source of a song or the author of a song.
Yeah.
So what ministry and teachers are associated with the particular song, it is a factor.
It's a factor.
But it deserves its own episode. And so for this episode, we're going to treat the topic without that particular consideration. We're going to remove that from the discussion.
I think that would be a fun discussion later on.
Yeah.
How do we think about songs, good songs from questionable sources?
Yes.
I think that's a discussion worth having.
That is on the list.
It's on the list.
Someday.
The many subject lists, right?
Yeah.
It's one of them.
Okay, so now that I've said all that.
So with all that.
Let's talk about the main factors.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Let's talk about the criteria that we try to use for selecting songs for congregational singing, right?
Yeah.
We're back to that, congregational singing.
Yes.
So what's your first priority? Like first thing you look for, what is it?
The first one, and this is most important, and that is the biblical fidelity of the lyrics. Surprise, surprise, right? Nobody's surprised, but that's obviously very important because when you are choosing a song for congregational worship, you're putting words into people's mouths,
right?
That they're going to sing, they're going to proclaim, and they're going to say to the Lord. That's a significant responsibility, right? So the lyrics that that we sing in a worship service, they're also tools for instruction. Like they are teaching us in some way and on some level. So I understand it as such. And so the best lyrics are going to teach us and help us reflect on and treasure the truths of Scripture and the truths about who God is, God Himself.
So we're not thinking about what is most helpful to our emoting, right? Like
No.
we're thinking about our instruction, our discipleship, the way we think about God.
Yes, that's number one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and really, if any song fails in this one area, then it really doesn't matter how well it fits these other criteria that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
This is the core one.
But then, okay, so a song is good, biblically sound. It teaches good things. It gives good words for our mouths to sing to God.
Yep. There's plenty of songs that do that.
A lot of songs that do that. What's next?
So next, and these aren't all necessarily like in order of importance. It's like a grid, and there's a spectrum, and they all kind of come together to put a song somewhere on the spectrum.
It's a big onion.
Yes. So the next one, though, I think that is helpful to discern between a good song and an excellent song is the poetic excellence of the lyrics. So do they say the biblical truths in a way that engages the heart and the mind in a meaningful, thoughtful, beautiful, and like fresh ways, sort of, is kind of how I would put that. The poetic excellence. And a lot of times, like I said, that's what really can differentiate a song from others. And like, if you listen to a song and you think about the lyrics, you can tell when a lot of thought has gone into, how they're presenting the truths there. And you can tell when it's maybe there was less
formulaic and just verses and a chorus, and you just get through it. Yeah.
And you can like predict what the next line's going to be. Sometimes that can happen.
Maybe a lot of filler oohs and ahs and yeahs and
the whoa-ohs.
Whoas.
Don't get me going on the oh-ohs. But music and poetry, like, they affect our hearts. They do. They affect our hearts, our minds. They affect our emotions in significant ways. And so if the poetry of a song doesn't do that on some level, it might not be the best option. Right. So that's another factor.
Which makes a real challenge, right? Combining those two things, biblical fidelity with the poetic beauty and structure and form of a song. That's it's harder than you think to find songs that fit both those criteria.
And songs that do both, they're a real blessing to me. And I really appreciate that.
Same.
So that's the second one. A third one that is also important, again, because we're talking about congregational singing. So that's why this one is really key. And that is the melody singable.
Yep.
A singable melody. And that's kind of the point here. We're getting together to sing together, and not all of us are great singers. So it needs to be something that's singable. And a singable melody is one that's like fairly natural to follow and learn. A less singable melody is more challenging for people to follow or sing. And so I'm not I'm not like trained in music like professionally or anything. So I don't describe things as good as maybe someone who had a degree in music could, but like, if you have a song that's written and performed by a Christian artist, solo Christian artist, it's likely, maybe it's a great song, but it probably has a lot of vocal runs, a lot of timing things and nuances that like 95% of us can't replicate. Probably
I can't. Notes you can't even reach.
I probably can't even do it. So, a less singable melody might have more challenging timing as well, like a song like that. So maybe it's an awesome song for personal worship and or listening to with your family in the car or whatever, but maybe it's not great for congregational singing.
And can we touch on that for a second? Because the worship music culture, since I don't know, especially the last probably 25 years or so. Um, you have like worship concerts, and people have they treat worship music as its own genre, in Christian music, and it's very performative, right? And a lot of good songs have come out of that, no doubt.
Sure.
But when you're in a local church worship service, uh, the people on stage singing, that's not the goal.
Right.
The congregation singing is the goal, right?
Right. Right.
You want the people singing. Those are the voices. Our voices together is what you should hear
Yes.
the most. Not, you don't want one individual sticking out. Especially someone on stage. That's not why we're here. We don't come together to listen to a singer.
If we did, I would not be here.
Or listen to a band or whatever. That's not what we're here for. We're here to sing together, at least in
Right.
part.
Yeah.
So it has to be singable. If people can't sing it, then what's the point? If only you or whoever's leading can sing it, it serves no purpose in regard to worship.
Yeah. Right. So that's an important factor, for sure. Okay. Another one is a lack of excessive repetition. And, before we expand on this, I want to make clear, like, repetition itself is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
And
The Psalms do that.
the Psalms do that. In fact, one Psalm 136 is, goes through and it recounts all the character of God and the works of God. And after each sentence, it says, "For his steadfast love endures forever." And 26 times by my count.
For his steadfast love endures forever.
That's a lot of,
again, again.
a lot of repetition. So we're not saying repetition is bad necessarily, but songs written by men, they are not inspired scripture, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
So if a song has like excessive repetition that lends itself to sort of like a mindless repeating of a chorus, usually it's a chorus or a line or whatever,
Yep.
then we would either lessen the repetition if we were to use a song, or we would maybe look at another song instead.
Yeah. That's good. Why do you think some traditions, try not to offend anyone, would use songs with such repetition? What are some of the more maybe nefarious or unhelpful or unbeneficial reasons that repetition is employed?
I'm sure it varies. On the less nefarious side, I think there's probably musical reasons people choose to do it. Like, oh, we can build, and then in this time we can do this with the music, or the instruments,
the music,
and then after that, let's do this
the music
with the harmony, and like it's like a creative sort of thing,
right?
That's like the less nefarious sort of side of things.
What's the more nefarious?
It can be used as a manipulative tactic to get people into a certain mood, make them feel a certain way. And, I use the word mindless repetition that at a certain point, you can kind of just get people to bypass people thinking because they're just repeating the same thing over and over again. And I don't think that's healthy.
I think a lot of people think of worship in terms of emotion, and they think it's got to bypass the mind somehow, or and I don't think that's a biblical way to look at worship. Your mind should be engaged, and if your mind's not engaged, you're not worshiping the Lord.
Yeah.
That's good.
Good.
Any others?
Yeah. So now we're going to get into ones that are a little bit more challenging for me to describe and a little more subjective, probably. So the fifth one is what I would say is a theological theme that supplements and contributes to our regular diet.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I put it. So, like, here's an example. In the recent months, I don't know how long, but I've introduced a few songs that focus specifically on Christ as the risen one and his resurrection from the dead. And I did that because aside from like your standard Easter songs, we didn't have a whole lot that led us in this way to focus on the resurrection.
It's so interesting to me.
You know,
The resurrection being such a fundamental article of our faith.
yeah, but tons of songs have it in there as part of the whole song. Like usually there's like 3-4 verses. The fourth verse will have something about it. So I'm not saying there's no songs but we didn't have songs that made that like the focus, right? We had a few, but not as many. And so I wanted more, and and the reason for that is because Sunday's the Lord's Day. We gather because he rose from the dead on a Sunday. And so I felt it necessary to add some songs that focused on that directly on the resurrection so that we could open our services with some regularity in an energetic, joyful celebration of Christ's resurrection. So
I like it.
Like that's an example of a theological theme that supplements and contributes to our regular diet of songs. So like I see a need for a particular theme or something, and I might want a song that kind of gets into that and fits that. So
I wonder if that's helpful to folks. That's probably something a lot of people don't think of. You're thinking about it as a pastor, right? What you want our church to be fed with and focusing on. And as our theology goes, you can get really imbalanced. You can get really fixated on just one thing. You have one doctrine that's just everything to you, and you lose a fuller sight of who God is and what he's done for you.
Yeah.
We can cultivate that or fight against it with our song, because you can get really imbalanced.
Yeah, good point.
I appreciate that criteria.
Cool. Next one, it's kind of similar, but probably less important. And that is and here's one of those ones, the next few, where I'm not great at describing and explaining, but like the feel of a song helps balance our overall diet of songs. So, like this has to do with tempo, mood of a song, and the way the song like moves you. I'll put it in quotations, like how it moves you. I don't know how else to put it.
Very subjective.
Yes,
now.
but like, and that also has to do with the time signature. It probably most to do with the time signature and tempo both together really create that sort of the differences between how songs feel.
Right.
So sometimes the church needs more upbeat songs to be added because we have way more slower, somber sort of ones, and sometimes it's the opposite. And sometimes sometimes the church can benefit from both types of songs, and there's a spectrum there too, from super fast to kind of fast to all the way down to very slow.
Totally.
And somber. So the point is we should have a good mix. That's what I'm also keeping in my mind is it's good to have a good mix of types of songs that fall on this spectrum in different points.
Yeah, because the body of Christ is a diverse people. Life is full of very diverse experiences. God is not one-dimensional. The Christian life is not one thing. It's not just one.
Yeah.
There's not just one aspect to it. So I think that the diversity of songs should reflect all of that, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I'm glad I convinced you of that.
This is good. Okay, next one. This is, instead of feel of a song, it's the type of song. And so the criteria here is the type of song helps build variety in our order of service. And so the best way I could think of to try to describe this is to sort of explain what I'm trying to accomplish when I create a progression of songs for a Sunday morning. In general, there's obviously going to be exceptions, but I'm looking to open the service and start it with songs that generally cause us to be reminded of the greatness of God. And then, over the course of the next few songs, I'm looking to bring the gospel to bear on our hearts and our minds. Because as we see the greatness of God and the glory of God and, the holiness of God, and we're reminded of our sin, and we're undone, in lots of ways. We're reminded of our need for Christ, need for salvation. And then I want songs to move from the greatness of God to the grace of God. And so in that flow from greatness to grace, I'm seeking to magnify Jesus in our hearts, the gospel, and bring it home to our hearts now that we've seen God's glory and we're reminded of his grace. So anyways,
I'd encourage people on Sunday mornings, not to do so in a critical way, but to just evaluate, okay, what's the logic here? What's the logic from one song to the next song to the next song? Not that it'll always be just totally obvious.
Right.
At times it is, and it could help you engage more thoughtfully in worship, trying to connect the dots between the truths that are being communicated in each song. I think that'd be a good practice.
Yeah.
For some.
Well, and so the reason I share that, explain that, is because in my mind, when I'm doing that, there are types of songs that serve different roles in accomplishing that movement, right? From greatness to grace.
Yeah.
And so that means over time I might start to become aware of a need for more of one type of song that helps in that movement. And it would expand my options in creating the flow in the song progression, or in some cases, maybe I need to replace a song that's just no longer working for various reasons, or needs to be replaced. Maybe it's lacking in certain areas, or I just like to move on from it, whatever. And so I want to replace it with a song that fills a similar role, right? So that's what I mean by type of song in this one.
I like it. Yep. I don't even have anything to add to that. It's all, if you're paying attention, these are all building on one another. Even though I know you didn't order them in any particular way necessarily, but
yeah. Okay. I tried to be
stuff.
logical though.
What's next?
Next one is a unique melody. So that's different than a singable melody. We talked about the melody once already. Now this is different. So there's like a sort of standard formula for a melody to follow. And usually it's like the first half of a stanza or or the verse itself follows like a general pattern. And then the second half, if it's a hymn, or the chorus, if it's not a hymn, kind of jumps up, and then by the end of it, it goes back down. And that's just putting it very generally. There's all sorts of variations, but
there's movement to the
melody. That's kind of standard. If a song in some way breaks that mold in a way that makes it stand out, sort of, it can help engage our hearts in a fresh way. I think is what I want to say about it. But you have to balance that with the singability factor,
right?
And it's because of that standard flow of melody, general melodies, it's so natural that a lot of songs follow that because it's singable.
You don't want something so unique that it's just unpredictable and you don't know what to do next, and you don't know what's coming.
So like, this is a hard needle to thread because the singability is more important. But it's nice to have something that's unique and fresh and singable. So the one example I can think of right now is the song "Only a Holy God." You can listen to it, and you can, take note of how the way the melody goes, which is like the notes and the words, is just different. It's not what you hear normally. And I think
it's very singable.
It's very singable. So I think it's a good example. And because of that song has sort of a unique effect, I think. Anyways, that's my 8th criteria.
Number 8, for those keeping score at home.
Yes.
What's number 9?
Number 9. This is funny. Maybe it's not funny, but the song is likely to age well is the criteria. Likely to age well. So are we going to get tired of this song in a year or a month or a week? And
After the first week of
yeah,
singing. Yeah.
if so, maybe I shouldn't pick it. I've definitely introduced songs in the past that did not age well. That's my fault. In some cases, there are other ones that weren't my fault, but
Inexcusable.
anyways, you kind of learn.
Yeah.
You kind of learn as you go, and it's okay if a song needs to be retired. And
Yeah, some things I like to use the illustration. Some things are Lazarus; they need to be resurrected, and some things are Old Yeller, and they need to be taken out back and put down because Old Yeller's got the hydrophobia.
Yes.
Some things need to go.
Yes,
and it's okay to take something out back that needs to be taken out back and put down.
So like practically the way I think about this when I'm evaluating a song is try not to jump like the first time I hear a song and be like, I'm doing that one.
Let's do it.
Give it some time, let it sit for a while in your heart, your head. And
you'll send me songs. You'll be like, hey, listen to this. What do you think?
Yeah.
Gives a little more time to it too.
Mm-hmm. So that can help. But I've introduced songs I thought are going to be great. And the church was like, no. So we just don't do it anymore.
Get a blue card. Why are we doing that song?
Oh, I wasn't talking about that.
The blue cards were back in the day too.
Yes, the blue cards. I'll just continue on.
PTSD.
Okay, so I did come up with 10. This last one is the song is musically excellent.
Yep.
So now we're moving beyond the words and the content. We're moving beyond the melody, and we're just talking about the music part of it, the accompaniment part. And that is a factor because we're seeking to honor the Lord, and as a worship team, the people that are playing the music, we're trying to honor the Lord and bless his people by playing songs in an excellent way.
Right.
I think it's Psalm 33 says, play skillfully on the strings with a shout of joy.
Right.
And I may have butchered that, but the point is play skillfully.
We're not going to check it.
The music, like there's excellence in music is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that has to be balanced with all these other factors, especially the singability. But,
right.
We want to do songs that are excellent in every way, if possible.
Yeah.
And so that includes the music as well.
Good.
Instruments and all that.
What do you got? Is that it? Is that all you got? I feel like there should be a bonus. You should throw out a bonus.
Yeah, I got a bonus. And this just gets back to the subjectivity factor, and that is the song does not make me cringe. That's a great criteria.
Which means, no, I'm not going to say what I was thinking.
Yeah, let's leave it there.
Doesn't make you cringe. I like that. That's highly, highly subjective.
I say that, it's funny, but I recognize, and I'm quite aware, and I'm sure that there are songs that we do here that make some of you cringe, and I'm so sorry for that. I'm really sorry about that.
We apologize.
That's the nature of music and preferences and things like that. So thanks for bearing with me when a song makes you cringe.
Yeah, this is really helpful. I know it's kind of a niche topic, right? It's not going to set the world on fire, but I think it's a helpful window into not just your thought processes, but wise thought processes for choosing music for corporate worship. None of this means, also, maybe we could say, I'll add a caveat. None of this means that if you ever were to bring a song to Kyle and it ultimately didn't get chosen, it doesn't necessarily mean it didn't fit these criteria either, right? It goes
Right,
back to
right.
there's so many songs that we can do.
Yeah.
So many choices, and you got to pick. And we get 5 essentially every Sunday, and so it's just I think this is probably helpful and hopefully encouraging to folks just to know and learn that there's actually some really careful thinking that go into the songs we sing every Sunday. So hopefully it makes you grateful, and hopefully it encourages you and is helpful. So I think this was good.
All right. I'll
Good
trust you
stuff.
on that.
Yeah. Well, we'll just leave it there for now. Hopefully this was a helpful discussion to you, and hopefully we'll have another one here before too long, next week, in fact. All right. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next time.